Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and we've got a Diablo 4 video here showcasing a Necromancer solo nightmare level 100 dungeon clear. So I want to talk about the gameplay style, show you the gear and the build and everything to keep you in the loop on a Necromancer solo 100 potential build. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, I'm going to link to the source material down below. I got this footage from EXO on YouTube and Reddit, so it would be really cool of you to click the link down below and show them some support over on their channel. But I want to showcase some other classes here on my channel instead of just talking about Sorcerer. I'm trying to do a better job of branching out into all of the other classes in Diablo 4 so that no matter what you play, you are going to stay in the loop of what is out there for other classes. And I thought this video was kind of cool, so I want to showcase the gear, the build, and kind of what they're doing here to clear solo level 100 on Necro. And as far as the skills that they have on their action bar, first up you can see they have a Blood Mist, which is going to be a disperse into bloody mist, become immune for 3 seconds, your movement speed is reduced by 20%, and you periodically deal 1.75% damage to enemies and heal for 0.5% of your maximum life. Then the next one they have down there is a curse, and that is going to be Decrepify, where Decrepify curses the target area enemies afflicted by Decrepify are slowed by 51% and deal 23% less damage for 10 seconds. They did also take both of the multipliers on Decrepify, where it is going to be afflicting up to a 10% chance to stun them. And then also when your minions hit an enemy that is afflicted by Decrepify below 10% life, they are instantly killed, but it doesn't work on bosses. Their third skill was Corpse Tendrils, which is going to be veins burst out of a corpse, pulling in enemies, stunning them for 3 seconds, and dealing 26% damage to them. Does not consume the corpse. And they did take both of the enhancements, which is going to be enemies in range of Corpse Tendrils are slowed by 50% before being pulled, and then also going to make them vulnerable for 3 seconds as well. And they also have an ultimate skill that you can see them use right here coming up really soon. And the Bone Storm is going to be a swirling storm of bones appear around you and your golem, dealing 180% damage to surrounding enemies for 10 seconds. On their left click, they did have a Bone Splinters, which is going to be fire 3 Bone Splinters dealing 8% damage each, and then each subsequent time an enemy is hit by the same cast of Bone Splinters, you gain Essence, and they did take both of the multipliers to get a 25% chance to fire 2 additional projectiles while you have 50 or more Essence, and hitting the same enemy at least 3 times with the same cast of Bone Splinters grants plus 8% crit strike chance for 4 seconds. And then the right click and main core skill is going to be Bone Spear, which is conjure a bone spear from the ground, dealing 119% damage and piercing through enemies. And the modifiers they went with are obviously this first one, the enhanced one, where it breaks into 3 shards when it is destroyed, dealing 25% damage each. And then they went down to the Paranormal Bone Spear, which is going to be a 5% increased critical strike chance. And if Bone Spear's primary projectile critically strikes, it fires 2 additional bone shards upon being destroyed. And also notable to talk about the key passive and some of the other key nodes they took here to really juice up the build. We've got the Ossified Essence, where bone skills will deal 1% increased damage for each point of essence you have above 50. And then up in the corpse section, they did make sure to put a bunch of points down here to the south, where bone skills will have increased crit chance for each 10 essence above the cast. And then they went down the right side of Compound Fracture, and we saw them stack that on the amulet as well, which is after critical striking 10 times with bone skills, your bone skills deal 15% increased damage for 5 seconds, and your bone skills deal more damage against vulnerable enemies. Then up in the curse section, they made sure to put some points here to get a bigger multiplier against cursed enemies. And they also invested in a couple side sections here on the core section down south to have your damage up to 12% chance to create a corpse at a target's location, and it is doubled against bosses. And then the maximum essence increased by 9, along with core skills cost 9% more essence but deal bonus damage. So yeah, pretty cool playstyle here, taking advantage of the immunity from Blood Mist and then the Bone Storm ultimate, along with Bone Spear doing the bulk of the damage, and also a curse here in Decrepify that's going to slow enemies and make it a little bit easier to survive in the dungeon. And I put this together in case you want to see the gear they were wearing right here. On the helm, they were going with the maximum essence, cooldown reduction, and life, along with the basic skills are going to give damage reduction. And then on the chest, they were going with physical damage, bone skill damage, and life. On the gloves, obviously they wanted the ranks of Bone Spear, along with critical strike damage with Bone Spear, and then also crit chance, and attack speed. Those gloves are insanely good. And then the imprint they went with is the ossified essence key passive. Also increases the critical strike damage of your bone skills by 1% per essence above 50 up to 39%. And then on the pants, they went with the normal damage reduction stats like maximum life, total armor, and then also damage reduction from distant, with the imprint of gaining armor when you deal any form of damage, stacking up to 50%. And then on the boots, they went with movement speed to get around a little bit better, which can be a struggle for the Necromancer. Essence cost reduction +4 to the corpse tendrils they were using in the build, and then fire resistance, with the imprint being critical strike grants 8% movement speed for 1 second up to 6 seconds. Then down for the weapon, they went with crit strike damage with bone skills, core skill damage, crit strike damage, and intelligence. So wow, that is a big damage weapon. I love the rolls on that one. The imprint they went with on the weapon was primary attacks make enemies vulnerable for 5 seconds. Then also bone shards and bone spear deal that 225% bonus damage to vulnerable enemies and pierce them. So ridiculous weapon with lots of value there. On the amulet, they went with essence cost reduction, darkness skill damage, +3 to compound fracture, movement speed, and the imprint was gained 26% increased crit strike chance for 6 seconds when you cast corpse tendrils, and deal 77% bonus crit strike damage to enemies damaged by corpse tendrils. Then the rings are pretty much exactly what we would expect. You're getting the essence, the crit damage, the crit chance, and the vulnerable damage. Looks like on both of them are exactly the same. The two imprints are up to a 10% chance to generate 48 essence when you hit a vulnerable enemy with bone skills, and then crit strikes with core skills will increase your attack speed by 20% for 5 seconds. And then if you want to see the final sequence of them finishing the dungeon, so right here, what they're doing is a couple things. They're luring that negative effect away. You see how they're luring it to the southeast, and then they're waiting until, I think they lured it and they were ready to go. But then they realized they want to wait until a Bone Storm is off cooldown. You can see the countdown for the ultimate skill right there. They're waiting for that. So what they're going to do is lure the negative effect away. And then now that they've got Bone Storm off cooldown, they're going to lure that thing down to the southeast to give themselves a little bit more room to operate. Then they're going to move up around it, pop their ultimate, and finish the dungeon. So right here, there it is. It's moving down, and they see their opportunity to go forward, pop their ultimate, and then complete the dungeon. It is Mallwood for the dungeon right here, and a Nightmare solo 100 clear for the Necromancer. Boom. Now, over on the source video, the EXO does go over the full build they're actually using and the Paragon board and all of that. So if you want to see a little bit more of an in-depth breakdown and maybe like the Paragon nodes and stuff, you can head on over there to the source material. But I wanted to cover it here on my channel because, like I said in the intro, I want to do a better job of showcasing some other classes, some other builds that are out there, and give us all a more well-rounded knowledge of all of the classes, because we're going to be heading into season 1 pretty soon here, and I want to be knowledgeable of what is going on out there for all of the classes in the game so that I can bring you as much content as possible as we lead into seasons coming soon. So I appreciate all of you. Remember to subscribe down below if you enjoy daily Diablo 4 content, and I will see you soon in the next video. Thanks. Peace.